Hey everybody, Icy here, and let's talk drones. And does Icy know what in the hell he's talking about? Well, by the way, this is called a pilot's six-pack. Okay, it's the most important thing that anyone in the aviation community looks for in a aircraft. And for 14 years in the military, in the Navy, guess what I did? I worked with it in aviation. So all these so-called experts talking about the drones and no, that's not a drone, that's an airplane, that's a helicopter, blah, blah. Bullshit. Okay. They currently have two of these drones. One was found on a field in Ellsberg, Pennsylvania, sitting on an airfield. And the only reason why I know that is because a friend of mine received a photo of it on his phone, and him being a former military policeman, such as myself when I was in the Army, we have extensive knowledge on what is and isn't fake in that regards. So you have that one, and then today a report came out of a drone that crashed into a parking lot in Hillsborough, I believe, New Jersey. So there's two of them that are down. Now these things are the size of a Volkswagen SUV, whatever you want to call it. They are multi-bladed, similar to helicopters, and I want to know who's controlling them. I want to know who is behind the controls, who is receiving the data that these drones are transmitting, and I want to know where they land at the end of their flight. And these things apparently are not important to the current administration, and that means Biden, Harris, Pelosi, Mayorkas, the list goes on and on. Why isn't it important? Good question. Now, I know for a fact that there is an organization within the military called NORAD. Now, unless they've dissolved NORAD, I've never heard of anyone, anything on the military scale saying that NORAD was, removed, disbanded. But NORAD, their original premise was to guard the skies over the North American continent. And that means protecting Canadian airspace, American airspace, and even Mexican airspace from unknown objects flying into our, what do you call it, sphere of influence, okay? Now, if NORAD no longer exists, who is protecting the skies over our country? Don't know. The FAA says they don't know anything about these drones, and the Pentagon says there is no threat from these drones. Well, question. How do you know they're not a threat if you don't know where they come from? How do you know they're not a threat unless you know who they are or they belong to you and you're pulling some stunt on the American people? So there's a lot of questions in this regards. Now here's a theory, and it is a unfounded theory as of yet, but I'm going to put it out there and you guys make your own decision. The Biden administration knows that a lot of the people that are currently in the administration will be subject to investigations once President Trump takes office on the 20th of January. Now, that being said, we've already had the election, and now these drones are popping up all over the place on the West Coast, flying over San Diego Naval Shipyard, North Island Naval Air Station, etc., etc. They're also flying over military installations on the East Coast in New York and New Jersey and some other locations. Now, since these things are encompassing the East and West Coast of the United States, and I say this is a theory. The Biden administration will take the opportunity to declare a state of national emergency. Why do I say this? Well, look what happened when they declared that COVID was a pandemic and everybody had to remain inside, and those people that went out, they had to wear masks, you had to wear gloves, you had to stay 6 feet apart and all this other happy horse crap. And all of it was BS. Now, if they declare a state of emergency over these drones, what it does is it allows them to declare martial law if they feel that these drones are actually dangerous to the American population. Now, like I said, this is all theory. Theory is unfounded until proven. They declare martial law here in the United States, which means all movement within the government will be under the control of the military. Right now, the military is under the control of a bunch of woke generals, admirals, guys wearing skirts, and what better way to ensure that they remain in power than to place the entire nation on a lockdown. It also ensures that Biden remains in office until such time as they remove the martial law. So it's a theory, like I said, but it is a plausible theory based upon the political ramifications that are currently going on within our country. You have woke professors and teachers in colleges and high schools that are trying to transition boys into girls, girls into boys. They are doing a lot of these behind the parents' permissions. Parents don't know what's going on. They're doing all this behind the scenes. The group NAMBLA, North American Man-Boy Love Association, is a group of pedophiles that actually got one of their colors on the one multi-gay pride flags, but the NAMBLA actually has one of their colors in there, so go figure. But these people, they want to make pedophilia normal. You have some religious, some academic scholars that are saying it should be accepted. And now you got drones flying over and the military saying, we don't know what's going on, they're not a threat. But how do you know something's not a threat until you actually know who's controlling it? So that's a false premise right there. So I say, for all my fellow Americans that think like I do, time to make sure your ammo is clean, your guns are greased, and get ready, because personally, if I have a drone flying over top of my property or my children's property, I'm taking it out. And I know a lot of people that are thinking the same way that I do. The only way you're going to find out what's going on is either you drop one or you jam one. They've got signal jammers. I don't know why they're not using them. And you follow the items back to their controllers. Follow the signal. Trace the electronic signal. They can do that too. They're not doing it. Why? These are the questions that everybody needs to start asking these so-called leaders in our country. But I'm old. I don't know what's going to happen in the next few years. I may not even survive tomorrow. But I'll tell you what, for all you younger people out there, you better start pulling your heads out of your butt and paying attention to what's going on, because it ain't good. I see out.